Hi, I'm Mark Kowalski, 33, software engineer, recovering people pleaser, and apparently the last person on earth to realize his fiancée thought his last name was beneath her. It started at the county clerk's office. We were there to get our marriage license, the official beginning of forever, when Iris looked up from the paperwork, smiled sweetly at the clerk, and said, "I'm keeping Richardson." The clerk hesitated. "That's your ex-husband's name, correct?" I blinked. "Wait, what?" She didn't even flinch. Obviously, Richardson sounds more refined than Kowalski. Polish names are so harsh and ethnic. I just stood there, pen in hand, while my fiancée insulted my entire ancestry to a government employee. She wasn't embarrassed. Not even a little. "Richardson opens doors," she added, like she was pitching a marketing campaign, not announcing she preferred her ex's name to mine. The casual racism hit like a slap, but what really froze me wasn't what she said, it was how familiar it sounded. I'd heard her say the same thing years ago about her first boyfriend's Italian last name. That's when it hit me. This wasn't just a one-time comment. This was a pattern. She was ashamed of everything that reminded her she wasn't born into the world she desperately wanted to appear part of. And as she went on about floral arrangements and bridesmaid shoes, I smiled, nodded, and signed the papers in silence. That night, she was planning dinner with her maid of honor. I was planning something else entirely. My phone lit up with a California number, her ex-husband, Mateo. It was time for a little truth. When he picked up, I asked casually, "Hey, did Iris keep your last name after the divorce for professional reasons?" His bitter laugh told me everything before he even spoke. "Professional reasons? Dude, she kept it because she said it sounded classier. She hated her real name, Stevens. Stevens. Plain, harmless, ordinary. The name she buried under lies and pretension." I hung up, staring at the wall. The woman I was about to marry had built an identity out of shame and deception, and she thought I was the problem because my name had too many consonants. That's when I decided something. I wasn't marrying a woman who despised the very idea of who I was. But if Iris wanted to treat this engagement like a business deal, then I'd be closing the account. Quietly. Completely. And with interest. The next morning, Iris was glowing. She'd booked a spa day and was humming while packing her designer tote, paid for, of course, by me. "Don't forget to pick up your tux this afternoon," she said, not even glancing at me. "And maybe practice saying Richardson naturally. It'll make introductions easier." I laughed quietly, the kind of laugh that makes people nervous if they're paying attention. She wasn't. As soon as her car pulled out of the driveway, I got to work. First stop, Kleinfeld's Bridal Boutique, where her $8,000 gown hung waiting for the big day. I handed the manager the receipt, my receipt. "Wedding's off," I said, sliding my ID across the counter. "Refund to the card on file." 15 minutes later, $8,437 hit my account. Turns out, being the one who actually pays the bills has perks. Next, I hit the venue. I'd signed the contract solo. Iris said legal stuff. Gave her anxiety. Perfect. I walked in, explained the situation, and walked out $4,500 richer. By 3 p.m., I had cancelled the caterer, photographer, DJ, and even the bridesmaid dress order. I was a one-man financial recovery operation. Each confirmation email was like a shot of espresso. Sweet, sharp, energizing. Then came the call that changed everything. Her maid of honor, Corinne, picked up on the second ring. I told her, carefully, what Iris had said at the clerk's office about ethnic names, about my harsh Polish one. There was a long pause. Then Corinne said quietly, "You know her grandmother's Greek, right? Papadopoulos before Stevens. She's been hiding that for years." My jaw clenched. It wasn't just about embarrassment anymore. Iris was rewriting her entire identity. Corinne sighed. "Honestly, Mark, I think you just saved yourself a lifetime of misery." I thanked her and hung up. When I got home, the house felt sterile, all white walls, curated decor, and not a single trace of the person she really was. Then I checked our joint savings account, a move I hadn't planned, but something told me to. And there it was, several quiet transfers over the last month. Thousands. Destination? Travel agency, San Diego. San Diego, where Mateo, her ex, lived. I opened her email. There it was. Flight confirmation. Hotel reservation. 1 ticket. Matteo Richardson listed as the emergency contact. I sat back in my chair, smiling slowly. She thought she was clever. Thought she'd waltz through this marriage pretending to be Mrs. Richardson again while pocketing my money for her reunion trip. But tomorrow, she'd wake up in a different world, one where her lies had price tags. And I was about to start collecting. Tuesday morning, the house was silent. Iris had left early for her spa appointment, manicure, facial, the pre-wedding glow package she'd bragged about to everyone on Instagram. I walked into the bedroom. Her wedding dress hung in its garment bag, draped like a holy relic. Beneath it sat her white heels, the ones she said were inspired by Meghan Markle. I unzipped the bag and stared at the lace and silk, my $8,000 contribution to her princess fantasy. Then I folded it neatly, slid it into the original Kleinfeld's box, and placed the refund receipt inside. The note came next. I wrote slowly, deliberately, so she'd have no doubt what I meant. Since you prefer Richardson to Kowalski, I figured Richardson should pay for your dress. Good luck explaining to Matteo why you were planning to visit him next week. The guy with the harsh name. I taped the note to a small Polish flag I'd ordered online, the same flag she'd once laughed at when she saw it in my desk drawer. It's cute, she'd said. Maybe hang it in the garage. Not anymore. Next to the flag, I pinned printouts of her flight confirmation and hotel booking, proof of her little California getaway. By the time she returned, her closet would look like a crime scene built out of truth. Then I packed. No rage, no tears. Just a quiet, surgical efficiency. A few clothes. My passport. My camera. I'd already found a flight to Tokyo that afternoon, a country she'd always dismissed as too chaotic for my aesthetic. Perfect. At 2:15 p.m., I locked the front door behind me and drove to the airport. My phone buzzed halfway there, Iris texting. You'll die when you see my nails. Perfect for the wedding. I smiled. Oh, I'll die all right. 9 hours later, I was drinking sake in a narrow Tokyo alley, listening to strangers laugh and shout over dinner. For the first time in years, I felt like myself again, no stage-managed image, no delicate ego to protect. I wasn't the fiancé. I was Mark Kowalski, son of a proud Polish family, and finally done apologizing for that. Meanwhile, 6,000 miles away, Iris was about to come home to a bedroom that would strip her of every lie she'd ever built. And by the time she picked up her phone to call me, I'd be in another time zone, halfway through a plate of ramen, watching the world keep spinning just fine without her. Iris called at exactly 7:12 p.m. Tokyo time, which, back home, meant she just walked through the front door. I let it ring. Then another call. Then another. Then FaceTime. I answered that one just to see her face. She looked wrecked. Mascara streaks down her cheeks, still in her spa robe, clutching the Polish flag like it had personally insulted her. Mark! What the hell is this? She yelled. Where's my dress? Why are there flight confirmations in my closet? I leaned back against my tiny hotel bed and smiled. Because you were flying to San Diego next week. Thought you'd want the reminders. Her voice cracked. You went through my email? My savings? That's psychotic. No, I said evenly. Psychotic is keeping your ex-husband's name because you think it sounds wealthier. Psychotic is transferring money to visit that same ex while planning a wedding to me. She blinked, stunned silent for half a second. You can't just cancel everything. I already did. Venues, dresses, caterers. Every contract was in my name. You'll get the notifications soon. Her eyes darted off screen, probably checking her phone. The panic spread across her face like wildfire. You're ruining my life, she whispered. No, I said quietly. I'm returning mine. Then I hung up. 10 minutes later, I got an email from her subject line. You'll regret this. It came with a wall of text about how I'd humiliated her and how her friends would take her side. So I did what any sane man does when an influencer threatens him. I screenshotted everything, her messages, her bookings, the proof, and sent them to myself, just in case. Over the next few days, I stopped checking my phone. I hiked. I met strangers. I stood at the Shibuya crossing with 1,000 people and realized something simple. Iris had made everything about how she looked. but I had spent years trying to make her happy while she quietly erased who I was. And now? I was free of it. I took a photo of myself at a ramen shop, steam rising, chopsticks in hand, and sent it to her with a single caption. Turns out, Kowalski travels just fine. No reply. But I could imagine her seeing it, fists clenched, manicured nails glinting, realizing her entire fairy tale had just collapsed. And back home, the internet was about to help it along. By the time my flight home landed 2 weeks later, my phone looked like it had been caught in a digital hurricane. 247 missed texts, 63 voicemails, and a tidal wave of Instagram notifications. Apparently, Iris had tried to spin the whole thing online. Heartbroken bride abandoned days before her wedding, complete with teary selfies and quotes about forgiveness and resilience. It might have worked. Except the internet did what the internet always does, it dug. Someone, probably Corin, dropped screenshots of Iris bragging months earlier about keeping Richardson for professional reasons. The same Richardson that belonged to her ex-husband. Then came the screenshots of her calling Polish names aggressive. Then someone found her old posts mocking Greek last names, which, fun fact, was her own grandmother's heritage. The comments turned brutal overnight. So you're marrying your ex again? One said. Imagine being this allergic to your own ethnicity. Bro dodged a bullet. Her follower count nosedived. Brands dropped her. Her sponsorship with a boutique skincare company quietly disappeared. Then her employer got dragged in. She worked in diversity, equity, and inclusion for a tech startup. HR opened an investigation the moment the screenshots hit LinkedIn. I didn't post. I didn't comment. I didn't need to. But I did get one message that made me laugh out loud from Matteo himself. For the record, I've been telling Iris to drop my name for years. It's weird. Also, Team Kowalski. I couldn't have scripted it better. Back home, I unpacked my suitcase, poured a drink, and noticed how quiet the house was. Peaceful. Clean. No ring lights. No product boxes. No fake accent Iris used when she talked on the phone to brand partners. Just me. And silence. And honestly, it felt like wealth. Then, in the middle of that calm, I remembered something I'd left hanging in the closet: the Polish flag. I moved it to the living room. Center wall. Framed. Let her chase the right sound of a last name. I'd keep the one that meant something. A month later, I got a package on my doorstep. No return address, but the handwriting was unmistakable: Iris's looping, influencer perfect cursive. Inside was a single photograph, the wedding dress, still in its plastic cover, hanging in what looked like her old childhood bedroom. A sticky note was attached. Hope you're happy. I'll never understand how you could humiliate me like that. I laughed. Not out of spite, out of disbelief. She still didn't get it. Still thought the problem was me not protecting her image, instead of her trying to bury who she really was. I put the photo down, made coffee, and sat by the window. The flag caught the morning light, red and white glowing against the wall. It looked proud. Later that week, I went on a date. Her name was Anya, second-generation Polish, born in Chicago, quick with a laugh that felt like sunlight. We met at a gallery downtown. When I introduced myself, Mark Kowalski, she smiled. Beautiful name, she said like she meant it. You must be proud of it. That simple sentence hit harder than any apology Iris could have offered. We started seeing each other more. She loved pierogi, my mom's accent, and even teased me about my over-the-top pronunciation of Polish words. It was easy. Real. No performance. Meanwhile, word around town was that Iris had moved back in with her parents. Her influencer career was dead, her DI job gone, her, Richardson, persona reduced to a half-forgotten scandal. And that wedding dress? Still unworn. Still hanging in the same closet where she used to practice fake smiles in the mirror. Sometimes, I think about how close I came to being another prop in her curated life. Then I think about Japan, the taste of ramen broth, the chaos of Shibuya, the first breath of air that didn't taste like pretending. I don't hide anymore. Not my name, not my roots, not who I am. And every morning, when I walk past that framed Polish flag, I touch the edge of the frame and whisper, Zekuj. Thank you for everything that ended exactly the way it needed to. It's funny how fast peace becomes your new normal. 3 months after the wedding that never was, my life feels like it's finally in color again. No filters, no staged moments, just real people, real laughter, real quiet. Iris? She's still Richardson. Still online, but her follower count's stuck somewhere under 5 digits now. Last I saw, she posted a quote about rising from betrayal, with a photo of a latte she didn't even drink. Comments were off. Meanwhile, I've been traveling. Not to escape, but to celebrate. I went back to Poland for the first time in a decade. Met cousins I'd only known through Facebook, stood on the same cobblestone streets my grandparents once walked, and felt something settle deep in my chest. A name isn't just letters. It's history. It's love. It's every hand that came before you. I brought back a carved wooden plaque that says Kowalski family strength and tradition. It hangs above my door now. And as for Anya, yeah, she's still around. She laughs at how she found me. Freshly single, freshly vengeful. But she says she could tell I wasn't bitter, just done letting people rewrite me. Sometimes we'll sit on the couch with takeout, scrolling through travel photos. She'll lean against me and whisper, "You did the right thing, you know." Maybe. But I didn't do it to be right. I did it to be free. I still have the note I left in Iris's closet, folded inside my passport. A reminder. Because sometimes the best revenge isn't a grand gesture, it's walking away so completely, they can't even imagine where you went. So here's where I went, forward. The Polish flag still hangs in my living room, not as a symbol of spite, but of peace. Of roots. Of finally being proud to carry a name that doesn't open doors but never needed to. And if Iris ever stumbles across this story, maybe she'll finally understand. You can chase every classy name in the world, but it won't change who you are. Some of us don't need to.